Hello everyone, it's Marie from Skeletorama again. Welcome back to my channel. Give it a house shift. How's everybody? So I am doing pretty good. So we made in the last video with the extra polymer clay, we did make some of the little croissants and little biscuits and things and baked them off. And so I thought, okay, I'm gonna go watch, Julie Warren has a video on making like cookies and bread and all kinds of stuff. So it's like, I'm going to go watch that and refresh my memory on how she did it and like the colors she used for the pastels to shade the stuff. And that's when I came to the horrible realization, oh yeah, she put that on before she baked it. Pretty much everybody who does polymer clay stuff puts that on before they bake it, right? And yeah, when you try to put it on after it's baked, and it doesn't look very good. So that was strike one. So I was like, oh great, what am I going to do now? So I used the paint. And I painted them so that they're like this neutral sort of cream color kind of business here. And I thought, okay, that's a good base to start with, and then maybe I can add color to it. And then of course realized, oh crap, I'm not going to be able to add color to it. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to put these aside and I'm going to do something else. So what I did was I made a bunch of the different cookies like she did from her tutorial. And I've used the pastels. I have these right here, chalk pastels, and you use the pastel dust and you color your stuff with it to make it look like baked cookies, right? So either I've forgotten what cookies look like or something. Not great. So I will insert a picture here of what they looked like. So it looked less like cookies that have been baked. Looked a little more like cookies that have been either underbaked or sugar cookies that have been left to sit out and dry, and then somebody did some gardening and then came back in and touched them. That's kind of what they look like to me. They look like crap. So I'm like, oh, okay, fine. I mean, what am I going to do? So I had an idea, because of course these have already been baked now, so putting more stuff on there wasn't going to work right. So I thought to myself, okay, I have all these different art mediums for doing, you know, mixed media, doing junk journals, doing all these kinds of things. Can I use anything else that you wouldn't expect? And yes you can, because now the cookies look very different. I'll bring them over here so you can see. Please ignore all the mess on the tile. That was from me experimenting with it. But now these look more like baked cookie colors. I mean, the chocolate ones, I did those because those were a slam dunk. You really didn't have to color those, right? But these ones you did. And so now these look a little bit better. They're still not, you know, great, but they'll do, right? And so I'm like, I wonder if that'll work with this. And it does. So I'll show you what I used for it. So first off, I got some alcohol ink because I want to do a project with the resin, the UV resin stuff, right? And so they make all the fancy pants dye for the UV resin, so you can make all these different colors. And but alcohol ink works also. And I thought, okay, if I get these fancy pants expensive things for it, what happens if I suck at it, right? Which is why I got the cheap clay tools too. And I was kind of right. But anyway, so I thought, okay, if I get alcohol ink for it to color it, I can use this for something else later on down the road if I'm no good at it, right? Because that's always a possibility. And I wanted it to be colored so that I could make tea. And so this is a color called butterscotch, right? So I got that. And then I also looked over on my desk. I hadn't put it away yet. I just got some of this. So what this is Stainz by Patty Pockets. It's Patricia Viramontes. She's very well known in the junk journal world for doing pockets with book page. So that's hence the name here. But she's Patricia Viramontes on Etsy, and she sells these on Etsy, and they're very reasonable. But what this is, it's like this kind of, I'll open it up so you can see. So if you look, it's like this nice dark colored glaze. And it's designed to be used on paper to antique it. They make a lot of different things that are similar. They do, there's an antiqued Mod Podge. There's, Tim Holtz does a collage medium or something that's got the antiquing in it. The thing I never liked about them is that when you put it on, it doesn't come out very dark. this does. This stuff is brilliant, brilliant. So if you do any kind of paper stuff or things where you want to antique things, this stuff's great. But I thought to myself, I wonder if that would work on here. And it does. And then my other thing that I am using to do some shading is Distress ink. So the combination of these three things, I was able to take these and turn them into this, which is, I mean, granted, I am still kind of experimenting with it, and it looks like maybe I left them in the oven just a smidge too long, but that would be normal for me anyway, so there's that. But this looks so much better. And then I do also have the Sculpey gloss glaze as well, because Distress inks are water reactive, so if you put them on something, you do want to put some kind of sealant on it. And I did a bunch of different ones, like in different order of operations, right? And I found the best way is basically alcohol ink first, then Stainz, then Distress ink if you need it. And then if you do that, then the gloss glaze on top. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do. So let me get some stuff straightened up. I'm going to get some tape on here, painter's tape, so we can stick these down. Well, actually, no, we got to do one thing first, but anyway, I'll be right back. Okay, so step one is going to be the alcohol ink. Now, when I did my trial ones, I just used it very carefully from the bottle and put it directly on. But I thought, you know, it probably would be a lot easier if I put it in something. So this is just a Dixie cup that I cut down because alcohol ink will get all over everything. So I'll put this on here. Now, alcohol ink is good for non-porous surfaces. Well, lucky for us, polymer clay is a non-porous surface, right? And from what I understand, it will destroy your brush too. But so I'm going to put this on these and do it, you know, just make sure I'm getting it kind of everywhere. And then I take the other paper towel and I kind of dab it off. Okay, and so this is going to give this kind of that base color that I'm looking for to start with. Okay, so I'm going to do that with all those, and of course alcohol ink is alcohol ink, so it dries very quickly, which this is done. So I'm going to have to put some more in here. Or I might just do it from the bottle. Let's do it from the bottle and see. So that was a bit easier. Okay, you know what? I actually like it done with the paintbrush a little bit more, even though the alcohol ink, when you do it straight from the bottle and then kind of dab it off, it sort of gets in those lines pretty good, but I think it'll do it if we have enough in here too. So. All right, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to put on fast forward while I do that. All right, so we are going to let that dry, and then I will get some painter's tape out here, and we will do the next part. All right, so now this stuff's dry enough that we are going to use this. So again, this is the Stainz, and I'll put a link to her YouTube channel in case you're interested in junk journal stuff. She makes great stuff, and I'll definitely put a link to her Etsy for this because this stuff's brilliant. So. This, you just take it, I'll take it from the jar here, and you're just going to brush it on here and see how it gives it that nice glaze color. And I'll zoom in once I've gotten these done here. I don't want to zoom in while I'm moving because that would be horrible. I'm gonna have to do it in post anyway. But so you put this on here, and this is going to give it, it will give it a little bit of that glaze finish, but not too much. And then, you know, with the Sculpey stuff, you can either get, I got the gloss, you can get the matte one too. So, and yeah, definitely keep in mind that I'm not super good at this. I was wondering if I was going to be able to pull that off with the cookies and stuff. Because, you know, if I'm going to do the Mad Hatter's Tea Party, I kind of need to be able to do some of this. Or there's just, maybe they have a gluten intolerance. No, I doubt it. It'll all be fancy cakes because I can't do, you know, like a regular roll or something. All right, so now I've got this stuff on here. We're going to let this dry. And then let me bring it close so you can see. And, you know, you'll notice in here, you know, where I got it a little too dark with the alcohol ink. The alcohol ink dries pretty quick. So, you know, you really want to get in there with your paper towel or whatever and blot it. I put some on there and I probably shouldn't have, so that was on me. But, yeah, so we're going to let this dry, and then we are going to use the Distress inks to do any kind of little shading that we want to do. And I'll be back with you in a minute. All right, so hopefully these have dried sufficiently, and you will know if they haven't, because Distress ink, again, it's not just water reactive, it's reactive to any kind of liquid. So you'll have a big blarp of, of color if it's not. So I'm going to do the antique linen first, and let's grab one of the little cookie business here. And yeah, you just do it like you would anything else, and you just kind of shade it around the edges, you know, because it would be the darkest, and I'm not really seeing a color difference in that. So let's go with Vintage Photo then. We'll see this. Ha, there we go. So, I mean, you can play around with different color combinations and things like that, but yeah, see? Now granted, again, it looks like my cookie may have been in a little too long, but that looks correct. That looks much better than what I did. And again, you know, I can do this on these that have already been cured. You know, now you don't want to go putting alcohol ink on polymer clay that hasn't been cured, because one of the ways you smooth out mistakes in polymer clay while it's still unbaked is you use rubbing alcohol. So, you know, it's not going to work out for you. But, you know, if you're like me and you're hopeless with the pastels, because, you know, of course, none of these colors is the color that I want to achieve. So, of course, I have to mix things. And, yeah, once I have to mix things, it's going off the rails. It's not going to happen for me. So, it's not a skill that I have. But this I can do. And it makes me so happy that I can do this, because now my bread looks like bread. So, yeah, if you're hopeless like me, and I just dab a little bit on the top. I don't want to dab too much because, yeah, I don't want to get too dark. But if you're hopeless at blending stuff like that, but you still want to make your own little breads, well, you can now. It just takes these few little things. And, you know, of course, you can use Distress ink for all kinds of other things besides this. I mean, I use it in everything. Everything. I'll just get this last one. And then just a little dab on the top, and there we go. So let me put these up here on this and bring it up a little closer so you guys can see. And I think what would probably be best is, so this is butterscotch. I would have to look and see what it would be, but maybe one shade lighter would be, I think, ideal, perfect, but still with that kind of yellow undertone, because you want your bread to have that yellow undertone. That's what my cookies were missing the first time, because, yeah, I botched that. So again, these look like baked bread, like I would expect them to look. They're a little dark for me, but that's okay. And then, yeah, you just go over them with a little bit of the Sculpey glaze to protect it, whether you want it glossy or matte. And voila, you have that. And like I said, it works on cookies and stuff really well too. So the cookies, I just did the Stainz and then a little bit of the Vintage Photo on top of it, and it was perfect. They actually look like cookies now. So, and I think once, you know, these are dry and I'm ready to mess with them, I'll hit the edges with the Distress ink too. But yeah, so there you go, little quickie video. It's not 17 parts. Aren't you happy? So anyways, I will see you guys in the next one. The next one is going to be a ton of talking because it's going to be the design process for the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. So that should be cool. But I will see you guys then. Okay, Mischief. Bye.